This episode is a debunked episode, and the topic is children obey your parents. And the chapter that we're starting at is Ephesians 6, verse 4. The first verse of Ephesians 6 is, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right." Which I feel like everybody that has kids or wants to have kids probably knows this verse. And it's pretty literal, it's telling the kids to obey their parents because it's the right thing. And then 2, honor thy father and mother, which is the commandment with promise. So, honor thy father and mother. I did look this up because I was like, how do you honor your parents? And I just wanted to see what the internet says because I wanted to know. And so I did look it up, but the first one that came up was adults, children can still honor their father and mother. Yeah, I stutter, it's okay. Anyway, so it says you can be thankful for them, even though I had times where I had I guess a rough relationship with my parents. I still would see other people that had different relationships with theirs, and I really grew up on TV, so I would see like other people with their families in real life, and then I would see like the model of families on TV, and I would still be thankful for some of the things that my family taught me, like I can't think of anything right now. I mean, I still had appreciation for I mean, if your parents didn't have kids, you wouldn't be here. So that's like one thing that you could say you appreciate and thank your parents for. I mean, if you had a rough time with your parents, that's one that, they were a means to get you here on earth. And like it says listening to them, I listened to some things that my parents told me. Care for them, I cared for my parents a lot. Like, my parents are old in age, so when I was a teen, they were probably in their 50s, and yeah, I can automatically detect now when somebody has like low blood pressure or high blood pressure, or if they're just not fully there, and if they need help, or if your sugar goes low. I definitely learned that from having older parents. And then forgiving them. Yeah, I mean, I forgive my parents for everything that they did. I think that people do what they do because they don't always have examples of how to be good parents. But I think also when you live a life that's separate from God, it's more prevalent for awful things to happen. So I forgive them. I have no reason to be really upset. Like, I mean, it's not that you don't have the right to be upset, because you can still be upset. Or like, not have a relationship just because you don't, just because you forgive people doesn't mean you have to be around the same people, is what I'm saying. So like me, I don't have a relationship with my family, and I've come to learn, especially online, that a lot of people don't have relationships with their families, or they're like blocked from them, and that's my case. I don't speak to my family. But in terms of this, going back to scripture, because it's still scriptures and story time. Ephesians 6, Verse 3, that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth. So it's saying that you should obey, you should honor your father and mother, oh my goodness, mother. And you should obey your parents because it'll help you live longer. I mean, who doesn't want to have a long life? And it'll be well with you. So that means it's like it'll just be good for you to have um to do right by your parents. And then I feel like this is the verse that people don't really talk about. They mostly quote the obey your parents part, and then they don't even look to the parts after that. But Ephesians 6 verse 4, and ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. So wrath is intense anger. But bring them up in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord. Admonition is an act or action of counsel. So that means that dads aren't supposed to provoke their kids to wrath, meaning to intense anger. And I don't know how other people developed wrath in their households, but for me, I feel like I felt like I was treated unfairly, and I know that I wasn't really allowed to talk or have boundaries with any of my family, but they wanted me to have boundaries outside of the household, but not in the household. And for me, that really made me angry. And I remember when I was like 4, that when I would cry, I wouldn't talk, but I would like scratch down my face because I was so mad and I didn't even know how to like communicate it. And that's wrath. So yeah, don't provoke. I think some people also develop wrath when like they go through abuse, or like wherever type of abuse, because there's like emotional, there's sexual, there's mental, there's physical, spiritual abuse. I think those are things that develop wrath. And yeah, so the Bible's saying don't do that to your kids. Don't develop wrath in your kids. Specifically it says fathers, but I personally think that if it says fathers, mothers, mother, or man, I feel like that applies to everybody, not just the specific gender that is being presented in the Bible. And then it says, but bring them up in the nurture. So like nurturing, like I think a lot of people think that women are supposed to be nurturing, but the Bible's also saying if you're a person that considers like it being gender specific when it talks to men in the Bible, then it's saying that men also have to be nurturing. So that I feel like being nurturing is like sympathizing, really. And I feel like the way you can sympathize is like, oh, I see that hurt your feelings, or I see that you're hurt, and oh no, hug. I feel like that's nurturing. And it also says that there's supposed to be admonition, so the act of counsel. So the action of counsel. So like they can come to you. Like if a kid is like, Dad, Mom, I don't know how I can pass this math test, and you can counsel and be like, yeah, that's awful that you're worried about this math test. But if you study and if you take the time to do what you need to do, then you'll be fine. That's counseling. And it's also a little bit of nurturing too, I feel like, because you're taking the time to hear someone else's feelings, and that's great. That's what a father slash mother slash person is supposed to do. Well, not really a person, it's father. Yeah. Anyway, have a good day.